Hi, hi. I'm Davide dAtri, the CEO of Soundreef. Soundreef manages music royalties on behalf of authors and publishers. We're making royalty transactions transparent, analytical, and fast. This is how we compete against our competitors. So we have 100% analytical calculation, while other competitors have obscure analytic statistical formulas. So we have 90 days reporting and payments against reporting and payments that go as long as 18 to 24 months. And we have full online traceability in the sense that you can go into your online account and see where the music is being used and when are you going to be played, while our competitors lack of detailed reporting. Our competitors are the national collecting societies. So in Spain, SGAE, in England, PRS, in Italy, CI, in Germany, GEMA, or in the States is ASCAP and BMI. And this is what we have under the hood, basically. Songwriters and publishers grant permission to license to Soundreef. They issue a mandatory license to radio and TV broadcasters, stores and small businesses, live event organizers. Then these people are obliged by law to report to us and to pay to us license fees. Then Soundreef do the data mining, the royalty calculations, and we report to songwriters and publishers, as well as providing to these right holders a number of statistics like Google Analytics would do, basically. So we are actually providing the first alternative to these collecting societies, and we have managed to attract 25,000 authors and publishers, including some of very famous authors and publishers in Italy. Thank you, that's it.
Thanks, Davide. And I think if you would pass the thing on to Jeroen from Teamleader, who's next on stage to present his company. Jeroen.
All right, cool. Hi, everyone. So my name is Jeroen, co-founder, CEO of Teamleader. 5 years ago, I started a company together with my two co-founders, Willem and Matthias. What we do is we've created a software application where we combine CRM, project planning, and invoicing. So we help SMEs with their workflow, and we focus on SMEs, really micro and small SMEs between 0 and 50 employees. So maybe very short, what do we see today and what did we saw 5 years ago? That around 50% of our customers are using no software before Teamleader, so really first step in digital transformation, using Excel, Greenfield. A second group is using single tools, so tools next to each other, Basecamp, Asana, Highrise, tools like that. But it's quite difficult for those SMEs to integrate those tools. And then another group is using all-in-one tools like Zoho, Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, but simply too complex and too expensive. And that's why we've created Teamleader to help those SMEs with our solution. So combining CRM, project planning, and invoicing, making sure that they have an overview on their workflow, and we help them to work smarter by doing that. So starting the company 5 years ago in Belgium, in the first 2 years looking for product market fit, bootstrapped, no money. We grew up to 8 people, around 250 customers, and then we've raised our first million in funding in May 2014. We used that to grow in Belgium, but also started our first office abroad in the Netherlands, and then we continued in our expansion in Europe. So right now, working with 170 people, having offices in Belgium, the Netherlands, Spain, France, Italy, and Germany. I think one of the latest innovations that we've launched is our Teamleader Marketplace. So next to the product that we have, we now also have a marketplace with around 170 integrations, making sure that the digital transformation does not stop with our functionality, but can go further in integration with other tools. And I want to end with the slide of my team, if this works. Nope. Okay, there it is. Because I'm very proud, of course, that we have a fantastic team. So based in seven countries, we also have a small development office here in Lisbon. Very cool company, young people, motivated. We all have one common goal, helping SMEs to work smarter throughout Europe. Very happy to be here, and visit us, then we can give you a free trial if you want. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you, Jeroen. Dmitry, you're next. Dmitry from Virgil Security. So we have Andy from RedShield. Go ahead. So,
hi, everybody. My name is Dmitry Dain. I'm the co-founder and the CTO of Virgil Security. And what we do is we help developers add encryption, passwordless authentication, cryptography in general, such as blockchain, to the applications without being cryptographic experts themselves. As it turns out, most developers have no idea how to do this, and even most Fortune 500 companies have no idea how to do this properly, as you probably have noticed over the last few years. We started the company 3 years ago with the idea of making it as simple for a developer to add end-to-end encryption to their product or password authentication as just a simple API call, a single function call for them. We created the infrastructure, we wrote all the security libraries they needed, and we made them available across every platform that's out there. Most of their focus is on IoT, and some of the growth chart I'll show you in a second is reflecting of the growth of IoT in general for us. We started 3 years ago. It took us a long time to get all of our customers ready, but it's a developer story. Most of our developers start early. They select us as the vendor for their security needs, and after that, it takes them a while to build a product, ship a product, market the product, and get to volume. But great things happen to those who wait. So we're roughly doubling every couple of months. And the story there is the story of IoT. 45 trillion devices or 18 trillion devices in the next 50 years or so. This is the way we're riding. This is most of our customers. This is why we're growing so quickly. It took us a while, but we got there. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So next on stage now we have Andy. Andy, welcome, and please tell us something about RedShield.
Alrighty, good afternoon. So I'm the CEO and founder of RedShield Security. So I'm here today because the world is facing a cybersecurity crisis. We have more systems getting hacked every day, more people's data getting breached every day. So it's a beautiful picture of the world. And there will be some writing, maybe that may appear, or maybe it won't, in which case I'll just talk to it. So there we go. So I started the New Zealand's largest ethical hacking and penetration testing business for 10 years. We focused on enterprises, finding security flaws. We sold that successfully 2 years ago, and now focus on shielding security flaws. Our customers are enterprise, airlines, governments, energy, healthcare. And the way that we work is RedShield sits in front of high-value applications, and it stops them getting breached. We are a SaaS play, so we sit in front of thousands of applications around the globe. And the reason that we're here is when an enterprise application gets breached, it is the people that get compromised. If you look at some growth numbers, this is a growth summit. So in the last 3 years, so 2 years worth of growth, has been 450% growth in revenue. So it's over 200% per year. We've actually had 50,000% growth in usage of the platform. We know for a fact that 82 million things have hit our shields. We know for a fact that out of those, 6.5 million of those things would have been successful without us in place. So what's interesting is not just everyone's trying to grow $1 billion business, and you can grow $1 billion business just by measuring the money. We're also growing a social billion. We want to know when we have protected the billionth person's privacy online. So that is RedShield, protecting the world against cybersecurity.
Great, Andy. Thanks for your presentation. All right, guys. I think very different companies from very different geographies and also different categories. But I think one thing that unites you guys is obviously thinking about growth. And as you're doing the positive pitch, you're bringing the energy across. But it's not always positive. You also go through some difficult times with your startup. So I wanted to ask you, each one of you, what was like one of the major challenges you have been facing before you were able to show the growth that you were able to present today? Maybe you want to start.
Sure. So for Virgil, the problem has always been time to market. Most of the time when you're building a company, you expect to have an MVP 6 months down the road. Maybe 8 months, your first revenue is maybe 18 months since you started the company. But our story is very different because we sell to developers, very similar to what Twilio does, what SendGrid has done. And that story is, you finance that differently. You have to understand that your first revenue is probably 2-3 years down the road. It's going to grow really fast once your developers ship a product, but it's early stage. Developers are usually first to use you. They probably don't have a lot of money. And that's the challenge. That's the finances challenge you have. If you do that right, then you end up with explosive growth down the road. And we've seen that with multiple startups in this sector.
Well, I think the thing that is most challenging is hiring key executives. It's very important. I mean, to support strong growth, like doubling your turnover, or even if we raised around 5 million euro. I think the day after you raise that money, or once you're doubling your turnover, you really need people to help you, people that have a strong expertise, vertical strong expertise in marketing or in your industry or in technology. And I think attracting the best talent and the key executive that are at senior level is a very important and very difficult task.
Yeah. We work with 170 people, so of course we've learned a lot about people, but maybe something else. We have more than 50,000 people that logs in daily on the platform. Imagine that every person has a great idea how to improve your product. Then your product team has a problem because you can't manage that. And I think that's something that we've learned and experienced as well in the past months. That when you're small and you start, you have a very close relationship with your customers, and you work for them, and you change the product so that they can benefit from it. But once you start really growing and scaling and have such high numbers, it's getting more difficult. And yeah, since it's quite important for us to keep that relationship with the customers, we really had to find other ways to support them, for example, in feature requests. So that was something that we've learned maybe in the hard way for a while.
So for me, as a high growth business, I think the hardest thing is knowing if you're growing too fast or too slow. So for us, we took a Series A last December, and so we now have 6 deals in the pipeline that are worth the same as all of our customers put together at the moment. So we've had to expand the team so that we can cater with these large enterprise deals, but we have to make the assumption that every deal will take a year longer than we plan. So you need to therefore be able to weather the long tail on an enterprise sale. So on one level, can we survive until December next year on the current budget? And on the other one, can I sign a deal next week and cater for it? So that's the classic growth problem in my perspective.
Yeah, something that we're seeing with a bunch of enterprise sales customers, because you have those long sales cycles, and you need to bridge the gap, basically. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if you had one advice to future enterprise software founders, what would it be? Maybe Andy, you start this time.
So look, my advice is always find your niche that no one can compete with and win on that alone. So from our perspective, as a small niche new entrant to the cybersecurity market, we have competed with some of the global giants, and it's always winning on our uniqueness. So whatever you're doing, don't try and be what everyone else is doing. Try and do what you do better than anyone else.
Execution is very important in fast growth. So a lesson learned and something that we do quite good in our company is that we create a lot of playbooks. So every time that we've learned something, we create a playbook, and we try to bring this knowledge across the organization, and that helped us really to grow. It's also much more easier to onboard new people. So I would definitely recommend that. Start investing in an internal wiki, create playbooks, and make sure that everything is very well documented, and that it's like clear processes that everyone can follow, because that really helps.
Well, I think my suggestion is an emotional one. I think to keep it calm, and so when things are going well, cool down the temperature on your team, and when things are not going well, then boost the morale. I think keep it calm, keep it a straight line is very important with the mind, and to focus to your business and to bring turnover into the company.
Look, I think best advice I can give to a startup is everything is going to take twice as long and cost 3 times as much. It's pretty classic, right? So plan for that, anticipate that, think about how you're going to manage that risk, especially in an enterprise sales cycle.
Okay, cool. Good insights. So I think last question for all of you, because we have a bunch of investors in the audience. Wanted to ask you, what do you want to take out of this web summit? Are you fundraising? Should investors approach you? Are you looking for partnerships? Are you looking for sales? What's the reason you guys are here?
So absolutely, look, we're smashing it now in the US and European markets. So looking for a Series B in 2018. So anyone wants to invest in SaaS, cybersecurity, enterprise, come and find me.
We are mainly here because, first of all, we think we can help you, and second of all, we're looking for great talent, so if you want to join us, come over.
All right.
Well, we're looking for a new round of funding. We just opened a new round of funding, which is about 20 million. So everything, if there are investors interested, I'm here.
Well, we're looking to connect with people, connect with VCs, and see where that takes us. We obviously have customers here as well, so that's probably the focus of Web Summit in general is customers. VCs always come second. That's a dilutive capital.
Yeah, business first, for sure. All right, guys, thanks. Great having you on stage. We'll move to the next panel in the next couple of minutes, and so you know who to talk to. And great having you guys.
All right, thank you.
Go. Woo.